All right, welcome everyone to the now fifth episode of the VerseCast. We are joined by our most exciting guest yet, Eric Devendorf. Eric is a former Syracuse University basketball player and professional player. He's the 14th leading scorer in Q's Nation history, and he was the point guard in the craziest game in college basketball history. So, Eric, thank you for joining us. We're really excited, and I sort of have to start off with a story for you because when I was in seventh grade, sitting on my couch watching basketball, for some reason, the Syracuse game was on. I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, so no relation, right? Watching that 6 overtime game, I was like, what is Syracuse? and after watching you guys win that game, I was so in depth. I decided I was going to apply, even though I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. And it turns out it was, a great sport management program. So everything worked out in the end. But I do sort of credit you and that game for me coming to Syracuse. So sort of wild to be here sitting with you.
Oh man, that's awesome. I've heard many stories about that night watching the game. So yeah, that's a cool story, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was telling Jack a little bit earlier because Jack's 2 years younger than me, and Jack doesn't remember the game as well as I do. So he was reading the details, and they're mind blowing to look back at even so.
Yeah, no. So I was watching the highlights of the game yesterday, and I never realized until then that shot of you like jumping up on the sidelines I didn't realize that was off of a buzzer beater that didn't end up counting. So the game went on after that shot that you hit. So I honestly didn't even realize that until yesterday.
Yeah, that was kind of the start of the drama. You know what I mean? It was that started it off, and then 6 overtimes later, we win the game. So yeah, it was pretty cool, man.
Was that like by the time that game ended, were you guys, I'm sure you guys were hardcore, like still wanted to win, but were you just happy it was over?
I mean, we had a team that was ready and prepared for that type of game. I mean, obviously we didn't think it was going to be that, but mentally and physically, our staff, our training staff and trainers had us ready to go. And we had guys who loved to play. And that group that year, that was pretty special. I think we ended up losing in the Sweet 16, but yeah, like I said, we just had guys who were mentally tough and who kept fighting, kept going. I mean, it was back and forth the whole game. And, when you get down, some guys can quit, but we didn't have those type of guys. We had guys who kept fighting and, wouldn't settle for anything less than a win. So I'm lucky that we ended up on the winning end because no one really talks about UConn too much when the 6 overtime game is mentioned. So I'm happy that we got the win.
No, they don't. Not at all. Yeah, that is definitely Syracuse history, not so much UConn history.
But those are the teams that make it far in March Madness, the guys that have the grit to fight into 6 overtimes and not give in. But what was the experience like playing with that team and getting to the Sweet 16 with them that year in March Madness?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, we had a bunch of talented guys. Myself, Johnny Flynn, Paul Harris, Andy Routins, Renze Anawaku, Rick Jackson. We had Scoop Zardine, but he was I think he was redshirting because he was hurt or something like that. But we had a good group of guys, man. Like I said, guys who were just fighters. I mean, even in practice every day, we were going at each other, competing. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's a lot of talented guys, but are you going to go hard and compete? And I know every time we were on the floor, that's what those guys were doing. And that's why we got so far that season. I think we ended up being a 3 seed in the tournament. And that conference that we were in the Big East was the best conference in the country, from top to bottom. The depth in that conference was unbelievable. I think we had like 8 or 9 teams in the tournament that year. So every, even in the regular season, every single game was a battle night in and night out. And, we had a good run in that tournament. We ended up losing, or in the Big East tournament before the NCAA, we ended up losing to Louisville in the finals, I think by like 6 or 8, but, a hell of a run. And then that momentum kind of carried us into the tournament where we had a pretty good run, but just unfortunately lost to a really good Oklahoma team who was led by Blake Griffin and his brother and a couple other guys. So super fun that year, man. That was a fun time. And always remember that squad for sure.
The Big East is just historical. It's a shame that the Big East is no more, or at least it doesn't really exist with the Georgetown, Syracuse, UConn battles that, used to. I definitely think college basketball misses the Big East right about now.
Yeah, I mean, it was being able to go in the Garden for that Big East tournament. I mean, that was special. I think it just really stood out ahead of all the other conference tournaments, because where it was played, the teams that were involved, and being competitive. You had your Pittsburghs and UConns, Georgetown, Villanova, Seton Hall, St. John's, all those teams. So, like I said, night in, night out, it was a battle. And yeah, it's not the same Big East anymore. And they have it at Barclays, and it's all over the place. So, yeah, it's different, but I mean, that's just how it goes. It's all about money. And I think that's kind of a big part of it. The change going to the ACC was a money move.
Definitely. And I think the football team has entered a new, like sort of a new come around the corner with Dino. And I think the ACC is really good for the football team. I think Syracuse, if we were still in the Big East basketball, we'd be playing even better, just given the competition in there now, but definitely agree.
Yeah, it's like you said, football move for sure, money move, and it gets more, money into the school being in that conference. And then, I think for us, it's still a competitive conference. You got the Dukes and North Carolinas and the Clemsons and, teams that, they're fighting every game. So it's good for us, and it kind of expands our recruiting a little bit more, maybe going down that Eastern shoreline and down into Florida. And so, yeah, it's a new challenge, but, Cuse has always been around, and they always will be.
Yeah. Talking about that recruiting a little bit, we've had a pretty active transfer window this season. I know you brought on, I believe you brought on Samir to your podcast. Or how are you feeling about the team next year, given the shifts this off season?
I mean, every year it seems that coach is able to adapt. He's able to face those challenges, and it seems like we go on a pretty good run in the NCAA tournament, regardless of our struggles during the regular season. I think a lot of time during the regular season, we're kind of working it out, figuring out the zone, figuring out the offense. People are figuring out each other's roles and how to play with each other on the court, and coach is kind of experimenting with different lineups. And you saw that a lot this year. He's just trying to find what works. And, we clicked at the right time towards the end of the year. And, obviously going into the ACC tournament and then NCAA tournament, we played extremely well. But for next year, obviously we lost some talent. But we gained some as well. Samir coming from Marquette, he was in a situation that probably wasn't the best for him being there. And now he comes home, he's a hometown kid. He's comfortable. He has the family and support around him. So, that can be big for a kid. It helps his morale, helps his confidence. And, he's able to play more freely and loose. And then obviously Cole Swider coming in from Villanova. He's a guy who can stretch the floor, he can shoot the ball, and can put it down maybe one or two dribbles, but he's a big body who can shoot it, and then we got the freshman coming in, Benny Williams. So, and we'll get other guys coming in, we heard maybe Jimmy Boeheim maybe come. So, he'll add some more versatility if he comes. And I know the coaches are working hard in the transfer portal. So, it's definitely different times, it's a little bit different with all the movement, and not only Syracuse, but for a lot of different teams. So I think it's just about adapting, be able to, get in touch with these kids and, hopefully land a few. But, coach will be all right with the guys he has. He always seems to put it together and make it work.
Always seems to put it together in March, especially.
No question. But
in regard to Boeheim, what was it like playing for him, and what's your relationship like with him now, years after?
Oh, man, it was I have a great relationship with Coach. I mean, a great relationship with the whole family. Obviously I've been working with Buddy since he was in high school, and same with Jimmy. I've been working with him. I just got a good relationship. I mean, besides working out, we play against each other and all that. And then just knowing Julie and Sissy since I've been at Q. So great relationship with the family. And then as far as playing, I mean, he's a player's dream coach. From my perspective, he lets you play freely. If you can do it and make a play for yourself and others, he can let you go play and make some mistakes. And he allowed me to do that, and it really helped me going forward in my career, because I was able to play through the mistakes and still keep that confidence and continue to have success.
Yeah, there's just something about Syracuse's program that feels familiar and comfortable to, alumni and incoming students alike. It's just that culture that we sort of spoke about on the clubhouse we did, that him, Boeheim being sort of the major figure of the program, and keeping that network of coaches, former players, current players. It's just something a lot of schools don't seem to have or even care to keep organized. And I think it's what makes Syracuse stand out from a historical standpoint. People just know the program. And that's a lot given to Boeheim.
No question. I mean, it's all coach, all the players, from the 70s all the way till now, we have that commonality. We all have been coached by Coach Boeheim, and we all have some crazy stories, and we all know, what he's like and how he is off the court, on the court. So it's pretty cool to share that. It makes us one big family. And like you said, other schools don't really have that, especially now, with everybody moving from school to school. Even coaches are doing that. It's they're looking for the better job. They're looking for more money. So, and rightfully so. That's that's up to them. That's better for their career and for their families. So, like you said, it's just rare. It's rare to have that, and I think it's pretty special. A coach built something that you really don't see anywhere else in the country. 46 years, been at Syracuse for more than 50, if you count when he was there as assistant. So pretty special family, pretty special program, and happy and proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, so you've been a big part of the community in the past few years. I mean, I got to school in 2016, but clearly you're a figure that the community remembers and cares about. How have you sort of gotten involved in the community in your post-playing career? I know you were involved with several charity organizations and the Small Business Fund for Syracuse. But I mean, just being able to sort of come home to this community and be, crowned as one of our favorite players ever, has to be quite the fun feeling.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a good feeling. If anyone knows Syracuse, they know how passionate they are about Syracuse basketball. The community in general. And I was a kid who wasn't just I wasn't just on the campus. I was all around the city. I had friends in the city. I had support in the city. So I was able to mingle and meet a lot of people and keep those relationships until this day. So, Syracuse has done so much for me. Through my ups and downs, they supported me. They were there for me. And then, like you said, even to this day. People are just saying hi or asking questions about the game or whatever it might be. And so it's only right for me to be able to give back. And, I'm lucky that, Syracuse basketball gave me a platform to where I could reach out to a lot of people and have those connections to where we can make some good happen. And, that's what I'm trying to do.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was really awesome seeing what you do with CNY Cares after, Barstool was raising all this money for small businesses, to kind of see that specifically Syracuse small businesses were struggling as well and needed that help. Like, you stepped up to the plate and made it happen. And that was after like what I accomplished over the summer. It was really impressive to kind of see you be able to step up and do something similar.
Yeah, man, it was really awesome. Like I said, I've done, stuff over time, like shoe drives, coat drives, back to school events, whatever it may be. And when I put it out online, the community always comes and rallies behind it. And even outside of the community, Syracuse really travels far and throughout the country. And you even see people from, Syracuse alum, former, anyone who has a Syracuse connection, they want to help out. And, I'm lucky to have that. And, with this small business thing, I thought it was pretty awesome, what Barstool Sports was doing to try to help not only New York City, but, throughout the country. And I was like, yo, let's, try to go ahead and get some locally going and see if we can raise some money. And again, the community got behind it 100%. We raised almost $80,000 and gave it out to 18 different businesses here. And that was just the GoFundMe. That was the first one. And after that, that's when we, started the CNY Cares. And, we were able to hand out money to a few more businesses. And we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to do stuff out of that organization. And like I said, just trying to help and give back in any little way. For me, I think nothing is too small, whether it's giving out we gave out hats and gloves and down in the city on the South Side, me, Demetrius Nichols, Mookie Jones, and a couple other people. So again, just being a part of that Syracuse family allows us to, have some reach and be able to help others who really need it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely great. And being a part of the Barstool Q's team, I got to see how really active or how passionate in both good and bad ways the fan base can be. I got some crazy DMs on that page. But switching gears a little bit, I want to talk to you about March Madness. It was a crazy tournament. Obviously, Syracuse had a great run, but specifically, were there players maybe outside the Syracuse realm that stuck out to you as these guys are sort of bona fide stars at the next level? Obviously, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Suggs, Evan Mobley, they get a lot of chatter, but who sort of stands out as your big board of top players entering the draft this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, I mostly watch Cuse, just to be honest, but the names that you said, like Cade Cunningham, he's unbelievable. Like he plays with great pace, like a Grant Hill type of feel, because he's a big guard. He can shoot the ball. Obviously, he's a better shooter than Grant Hill was, but he has that type of feel and that type of mold to me. And Jalen Suggs, he's athletic. He's an explosive point guard. I like the big from Gonzaga, Timmy, but he got exposed, I think, against Baylor, against those athletic bigs. And he figured out how it's going to be at that next level for him, because everybody's like that at that next level. Everybody's athletic. It can move. So it's going to be a little bit tougher for him. But I still think he has an NBA skill set, because he's pretty creative and can find ways to score. I really like that guard from Baylor, Davion Mitchell. I thought he really, on both ends of the floor, and just the energy on the defensive side of the ball was so great. He was really stifling the other defender, not even giving him any type of room. And I thought that was pretty impressive, because you don't see a lot of guys do that anymore. His energy and effort on that side was unmatched. And then on the other side of the ball, not only him, but most of Baylor's guards, those three other guards, even a couple of the guys coming off the bench, they're able to create for themselves and others. And you saw Mitchell, he's crafty, getting to the bucket, being able to get into the lane, and he's a shot maker. So he was a guy I was impressed with. And then some other guys, those bigs from USC, the Mobley Twins. Those guys are super impressive, man. Like, to be 7 foot and have that skill set. I mean, they're dribbling, putting it on the ground, stretching outside and knocking down the three. And then obviously they're super athletic and run the floor. And when you have those skill sets as a big, I mean, that's a top 10, top 5 pick. So those guys will be, they'll be right there in the lottery. And I'm sure I'm missing a few, but those really were the guys that, that I was impressed with, that I, was able to check out during the year. And also the guy from UCLA, I thought he had a good tournament, Johnny Jang or whatever.
Yeah, he really put himself on the map. He's probably not as highly touted as a lottery pick, maybe, but I think he earned his way into a first round pick if he does go to the draft.
Yeah, he was lanky, man. He's lanky. He can shoot the ball. He's pretty athletic. He's not overly athletic, but he's pretty athletic. And I think when you're that height and you're able to shoot the ball with that efficiency at that level, especially in the tournament, that's going to, get scouts' attention. So he definitely helped himself.
Real quick, back to Davion Mitchell. The crazy thing about him is zero relation to Donovan Mitchell, wears the same number as him, and in my opinion, has the same exact offensive skill set as him.
Exactly.
No question.
What's crazy is he has the edge on defense, I think, but on offense, when you watch him, I literally see Donovan's game in his game. Like, he had to be watching film growing up with Donovan Mitchell, because the shot form, like everything, just looks exactly like Donovan's game.
No, I agree 100%. Somebody else said that, but no, I agree 100%. He has the same. The movements are the same, all that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Damian Lillard was tweeting about it. He was messing with Donovan on Twitter, saying, "You play for Baylor," like, because they really are exactly alike. Have you seen that occur in your playing career or coaching career, Eric, where players are able to sort of latch on to another type of play style and form their game after it, or does everyone sort of come naturally?
No, I mean, yeah, all the time. You see guys who try to emulate others. I mean, especially the great players. You want to try to emulate guys who are great. That's how they got there. Obviously doing what they're doing, and but everybody has their differences as well. Whether even for Davion Mitchell, I think Donovan's a little bit more athletic than him. He's not the high flyer that Donovan Mitchell is, but he does have similarities in his game, his movement, and that's the biggest thing for me. Just how he moves. How he shifts and changes. It's the same. He plays with that same type of pace. And but yeah, there's a lot of guys. I can't, not off the top of my head, I can't really name them, but I think that's just from guys watching film, watching other guys play, and then I'm gonna add that to my game. I'm gonna put that in my bag, that in and out cross, whatever it is, So, and I think same with coaches. You know what I mean? Coaches see that, oh, that's a great play. I'm gonna put that in my, in my playbook or whatever. So, I mean, that's how you get great. It's copying. You copy off each other, and you kind of put your own twist onto it, so to speak. So. I think that's what happens. That's with anything in life, right? Business, you see that business move he made. All right, I'm gonna do that and kind of maneuver my way though. So
yeah,
that's how you get good at stuff.
Who were those specific guys that you watched growing up that you modeled your game after?
So for me, my favorite player was Allen Iverson. Like I just loved how he was attacking the basket, and he was 6 foot 175, and he just went with reckless abandon, just not scared of anything, no fear. And for me, I was that same type of guy growing up. I could shoot the ball, but I was always slashed into the basket, get into the bucket, and I was pretty creative and to where I could really get by whoever. And then once I got into the lane, it was just up to me to be able to use my body and movements and be able to finish. So he was a guy that I really, I won't say I played like him, but I say I modeled his intensity and his effort and his mindset, just being an attack, a dog out there. And I like guys who are just killers who just go after it. Obviously Michael Jordan was a guy who I love to watch play. And, guys today, I mean, KD, I played with KD in high school. So I saw that at a young age, how he was doing. So I just like guys who are aggressive and don't back down. And that's kind of the mindset I have when I'm playing.
So a lot of the guys you just mentioned, sort of like the all-time greats or even just generational talents, like they were pretty much good enough to get going in the NBA right out of high school, and some of them did. Do you think the impending sort of disassociation from needing college basketball to get to the NBA is going to really impact Syracuse, but also just the sport in general, like what they're doing with the G League Ignite team and how sort of opportunities to play overseas are increasingly competing with playing in a college, for a college team? Do you see that being a game changer or a sport changer, I guess, in the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, colleges are still going to get players, that's just how it is, but it's definitely going to, more and more, these players are going to start looking at other options, whether it's G League, and then we see the overtime league starting up where they say they're going to play 100, pay 100,000 to the guys 16 to 19 or whatever it is. I mean, that's a lot of money for kids, so they're going to be attracted to that first and foremost, right? And then to be able to, have like Kevin Ollie, I think he said he was going to be the head coach, and they're going to get those type of guys on staff. I mean, that's super attractive to kids, and why go get, why, I guess, slave, so to speak, not really slave, but, go through all the trials and tribulations in college, not get paid for it. Yeah. And then, have chances of getting hurt and then not being able to get to the NBA, whether I go to this or go to this other, organization or opportunity, whatever it is, league, get paid for it, have some money in the bank. And now if I do get hurt, I could work with something, and I'm sure they're going to provide all type of other stuff as far as learning how to take care of your money, invest in things like that. So it's pretty cool though. It's forcing the NCAA to make a move. Like if they don't make a move soon to where they're paying these guys and figuring it out, then they're just going to lose more and more players. And, I think rightfully so, the NCAA has to figure it out.
But at the same time, like these guys are on bigger stages when they go to college, and at least for now, because overtime hasn't started yet. Who knows how big that league will get? But a player like, let's say, Cade Cunningham compared to Jalen Green, who didn't go and play in college. I mean, everyone has seen Cade play at this point. Not as many people have seen Jalen Green play because he's not playing in games on as big of a stage as in March Madness.
Yeah, I mean, but the people who need to see him play, seen him play. I mean, like maybe the general public didn't get to see Jalen Green play, but all the NBA scouts did, and that's all that matters. He's going to be a top 15 pick too, or whatever it is. So again, it's different because now everyone knows this guy Cade Cunningham. But if Jalen Green came into a situation, he'd probably did the same thing. That kid's a talented kid, and he's in the G League playing against grown men. You know what I mean? Who are starving to get a check. So it's it's different from that standpoint as well. But if you're a player, I mean, you're going to be seen. Nowadays, it's too many ways not, to be seen as far as video, synergy, all that stuff. And then, like I said, like if they're going to go see him if they really want him, whether it's overseas. I mean, you got overseas scouts, like, come on, they're bringing these guys, you never even heard of this guy get drafted first round. He's averaged 3 points overseas or something. You know what I mean? So if you can play and they feel that you had the potential, I think it doesn't really matter. You'll get found.
Yeah, it's true. And Jalen Green's playing against, like you said, professionals, and he's getting that experience before he becomes an actual rookie.
Right. It's pros and cons to everything.
He's probably also getting top of the line medical treatment, spending all of his time working on his body and not in class or having people do his homework. So I think there's a lot of benefits to the G League, and I think the Ignite program, I think it will compete. But you're right, there will always be that demand, and the NCAA won't let ticket sales or TV ratings slip, too much. Before they would do something to prevent, losing their player pool. So it'll be interesting to see how they work it out. But
yeah, it will be.
So Eric, you said that you mostly watch Syracuse college ball. Do you watch a lot of NBA ball?
I do. I mean, I watch probably not as much as college, but I do watch NBA ball. If not the game, just catching the highlights and stuff like that. But yeah, and it's certain guys I like to watch. Sometimes it could be watered down a little bit as far as it's a lot of talent out there, but guys, the effort isn't there, and I don't want to watch that. You know what I mean? I like to watch the guys playing hard and getting after it.
What's it like watching guys like Kemba and Blake play that you've gone up against, at the beginning of their careers?
Well, I mean, I played against a lot of guys in the NBA. Like I said, I played with KD, Tywan Lawson. I played with him when he was in the league. Wilson Chandler, I grew up with when he was in the league. It's a lot of guys, just from summer ball, whatever it is. But it's cool to see that, man. Being able to see those guys, excel and succeed at that level. After knowing all the hard work that they put in, from a young age. I mean, that's their dream. And a lot of those guys don't come from the best situations. So to be able to make it out of that and, be able to take care of your family and do all that, that's the goal. And that's awesome to be able to see guys do that, especially guys that you had interactions with.
Yeah, and Syracuse, I mean, I don't think it gets enough credit for just how consistently players are going to the league from Q's. To get to the league, from any school is extremely difficult, but Syracuse is almost consistently putting guys out. Dating back several years, we normally have at least one guy in contention for a late first or second round pick. And I think that's got to be something that appeals to players looking, from a recruiting standpoint, looking for where and how they can get to the next level. It's got to be taken into account that we are sort of an NBA factory.
Yeah, I mean, especially nowadays. I mean, young kids, that's the goal. They want to be able to get to the NBA, and it seems like as quick as they can, right? But yeah, we have talent every single year in, year out. Some years more than others. But I mean, coach and the coaching staff do a great job of developing the guys, making sure they're ready. And coach runs it like a pro program, a pro organization. He gives you that freedom to be able to do what you need to do. He's not going to be nitpicking at you and calling you and seeing where you're at. So he's preparing you for that next level. And, as far as that goes, and, I mean, it shows, all these guys that go to the league, they do pretty well, and they have success, and like we're seeing Jeremy Grant and obviously Melo, and you see guys like Michael Carter Williams sticking, and obviously Wes Johnson had a long career as well. So it's hard to get into the NBA. I don't think people really understand that it's more than basketball. It's a lot of stuff that is involved. I mean, it's a business now, so it's money involved, and these teams want to make sure they're making the right investment. So it's a lot of different factors that come into play. So coaches have done a great job. The coaching staff has done a great job of, preparing these guys for the next level.
So Eric, what do you have lined up next? What are you looking at as sort of the future for what you're working on? Any projects or ventures that you're working on?
I always got ideas in my head, man. I always write a lot of stuff down, and because if not, I'm gonna forget it. So I try to write things down and then come back to them. And I'm fortunate enough, like I said earlier, to know a lot of people and have a lot of connections to where we can come together and make something happen. So, I got my ED23 Hoops brand where I, do the camps and clinics and work out the kids. And, I've been back going at that pretty heavy. And then obviously I'm going to stay doing stuff in the community, with the ED23 Hoops and with CNY Care. So I'm actually we just partnered with Glazed and Confused Donuts and another organization, Clary's Closet out of Auburn, where the week of April 19th, we're selling our donuts, or they're selling their donuts, but they're putting our logos on their donuts. And all those proceeds will go back to, kids in need in Central New York. So, just trying to help out, man, pay it forward. And when you're a good person and do good things, stuff just comes about. I don't really go chasing anything. I just kind of, try to continue to do what I've been doing, and usually things pop up, and we go from there.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you coming on here, hearing a little bit about Verse, talking about your experience and sort of your outlook. We'd love to keep you as a friend of the program as we grow as a company. We have big goals. We, love to keep you in touch and keep you informed. And if you ever do want to try out our product and Verse some friends, you're welcome to hop on the beta or the iOS app once it comes out. But it's great to bring you on here and tell you about this. So thank you for joining us.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, and good luck with everything going forward. And we'll definitely, collab and get something going to where we can, help people out in the community. For
sure. And last thing, I saw that you won the Vintage Syracuse Hoops March Madness bracket tournament. So it sounds like your bracket went pretty well overall.
Just winged it, man. I really just winged it. And then my man, I know the guy who he's my friend who started it, and he texted me and said, "You won it." And I'm like, oh, I never even looked at it, And then, so yeah, it worked out. But I asked him what I get, and he didn't tell me anything. So but it's all good, man.
That's all good.
Appreciate you coming on, Eric. It was nice finally getting to have a real conversation with you.
Appreciate you guys, man. Take care.